Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Bigger Bite, where we take a deeper dive into some of the biggest films of the year. This is another one of the films in our Oscars lead-up series, and today I am joined by none other than Amaru and Adriano as we dive into I'm Still Here. How you folks doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty well. Here for another one of these. I told you backstage, I wonder if people are going to talk about how many of these videos I'm wearing this exact sweater.
Listen,
because
I get it.
my pajamas are great and I just wear them. But maybe maybe you only see me in the sweater in one other video and not the other ones. We still got to get done. But I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. How about you, Adriano?
Doing good. Happy to be on one where I'm not getting backstabbed by my girlfriend, but
I don't know if that episode is out yet at the time of recording this.
Well,
but we'll see.
In that case, they're never going to know the context. Maybe it's something really serious. But yeah, happy to talk about this one.
Looking forward to watching that one. That was a nice to know about and wait to hear.
I'll show you after. But we are here to talk about I'm Still Here. And honestly, this film is one of those films where you sit there, and I was talking with Drew about this and Adriana before we went live. I saw this film 2 weeks ago. Normally, when I love a film or dislike a film, or it sticks with me, as you can see in some of these reviews, like Nickel Boys or Dune or Wicked, just any of a few of the films that fall into that category. And this is a film I watched. I'm like, wow, this is a good film. And outside of the ending, I can't really remember much outside of it. It's been a struggle because normally I can zone in on a few things I love about it. Like the performances were great. I just remember finishing it and having a general feeling of, wow, that was good. It's good. Yeah. Rue, your thoughts?
I am not at that point. This is a more than solid, extremely, extremely well-made, well-acted movie. I remember a lot of it, but I'll tell you, speaking of the end of the movie, the biggest thing I remember feeling about it is feeling like I was part of the Paiva family. Like I felt like I was in their world from every single step of the way, from when you their beach visits to when the patriarch Rubens is his name, when he's there beforehand, when he gets taken after, like every step of the way, I felt like I was one of the children. And not a lot of movies do something that well where you feel like you're there with them. Also, they got the dog, man. So that definitely hit me in the heart. There's a lot about this movie that is really poignant, really hard hitting, and it's a rough watch in terms of how emotional you get with it, especially because it's based on a true story. So I did not forget about this movie. I have also only seen it once. It's probably been about a month and a half to 2 months, but I still think about it. I still think about it a lot, and going to it, I am very happy that Fernanda Torres got nominated for
that. I will agree
because she is phenomenal.
Adriana, your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually saw it for the second time a couple of hours ago. I saw it for the first time at Toronto a few hours before Queer, and that movie is so intoxicating that you kind of forget it. You know, that
you want to talk about a movie that's forgettable, but okay.
Queer
kind of.
You can dislike Queer. You can't say it's forgettable.
I don't remember a damn thing about it. But anyway, we're not talking about Queer today.
Yeah. But I did rewatch it. I'm glad I did. My reaction to the first time was like, that was amazing. And my view out of this recent one was, it's still a movie I would classify as pretty fantastic. Although there is some stuff I picked up on a little more this time around. Some of the structure was a little not my favorite thing, but overall, this is a movie about healing, really, about familial bond and how that can heal, both a internal and a national trauma. And I think the movie Walter Salas does a fantastic job at that. And like you said, Fernanda Torres, holds that thing. You know, she's getting her flowers, rightfully so, but that entire ensemble is terrific.
Yes, I can agree to that. I mean, and
Yeah,
like
I was just saying,
Ro.
I am in amazement. Just the kismet, the whatever you want to call it, that Fernanda Torres' mom is playing her mom in this movie.
Montenegro.
Fernanda Montenegro. Sorry, not her mom. She's is she playing the older version of? It's the older version of Fernanda Torres, not her mom.
Yeah,
but it's her mom in real life. And Fernanda
also
Montenegro
an Oscar nominee.
was the first Brazilian Oscar nominee and lead actress, and now the second is her daughter Fernanda Torres getting that Oscar nominee. I know you've heard that probably 50
for
another Walter Salles.
Yeah,
that I didn't know. That is really cool. I know y'all have probably heard this fun fact 50 million times now if you're watching Oscar videos. I just think it's really fucking cool.
No, it is cool. Like, how often do you get a mother-daughter tandem nominated? Like,
and to be the only ones from your country to get nominated. Exactly. So, yeah. I
mean, let's dive into it, because this is a story of, like you said, based on true life, where you have, was he the governor, if I remember correctly?
He was a former
congressman. He was retired, yeah.
In Brazil, and it was just about the story of how he was starting to speak out against this invasion, and the government just, you know, I will say this.
Took him from his home. Just took him from his home.
Yes, but I was about to say, this film is very timely. Got to say that. Very, very, before I stop myself, because I do want to mention it, very timely considering what is going on in the world right now. But yes, just kidnapped, and his wife and children are just left to happen. Like, he leaves as if he's going somewhere, normal day of the week. They're like, he'll be back. Gone. Don't see him again. Just gone. And then government comes in again, looking for the wife, and one of the older daughters get taken, and they get trapped there for a few days. And then it's just the journey of healing and finding out, trying to figure out where he is and free him if they can, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And I will say, the emotional punch didn't really hit for me until we do make that time jump towards the end, because that's where, like, you get to see the closure she has when they get a death certificate, and then the lead up
at the end.
Yes, not even that, because remember they go, and there's she picks up a certificate of death, like confirming, okay, he's dead, and there's that moment of closure, which you start to see the signs of her dementia start to set in that scene, and then it furthers it even more, and to where we get to that ultimate ending with the older version of the character. And I was just like, wow.
Where the family is now, essentially.
Yes. Well, it was early 2000s in that, but yes.
Yeah, no, that entire the ending really, it's one of those, like, the first time jump to the fairy valley. It's one of those, like, final act, like, I guess, acts, you could say, that really put the whole film together in a way. You know, yes. Like the whole film. You know, there are definitely hints of like that, like the whole family photo thing where she's like, "Nope, you're smiling. We're all smiling. We're not being sad. We're all smiling. They want us to be sad. We're gonna smile." There's definitely hints of that, but that finale is just like, you know, the movie begins and ends with love. You know, like I saw some reviews calling it straightforward, and there is a hint of truth to that. Yeah. But like, until you realize that the first 30 minutes of this movie, it's kind of just the family fucking around. Yeah. That's kind of all it is, and it's so quick that you connect to it. Like, there's hints of the the political stuff with the government, with the military dictatorship. It's there, but the crux of the first 30 minutes of this movie, it's just them fucking around and loving each other.
I think that's why I really enjoyed the structure of the film. Like I said, I mentioned I felt like I was a part of the family, and that first 30 minutes really gets you into that. And you were talking about how you didn't get the gut punch until the end. And that really, for me, was what made it so much of a better emotional resonance, because a lot of the story is about Fernanda Torres' character, Eunice, searching for her husband, trying to grill and trying to find out from the government after they take her and they release her, really like balancing. I need to find out what happened to my husband for years and years and years, but I still have these. It's 4 kids, right? Is it 3 kids or 4 kids? 5. There you go. 5.
Because
Yeah.
remember, it is 4 for a time because the oldest gets sent off to live in London with the family.
Yes. And so the 5. So I really feel, and again, it goes back to her performance. I really feel her trying to balance that. I need to keep this family together. We're gonna have this family photo. Dad is not here, but we're gonna smile. But I also need to not let up in making sure that this shit that just happened to my family they don't get away. They don't get away with it. Her like yelling at the people in the car and making them run away after they run over the dog, and the continued like the time jump when you figure out that like the son is the one who kind of wrote this story. It's based off of his autobiography and his book. So that's where the story kind of comes from. Just being able to live with this family and live with the reality of what actually happened. The fact that there's no like big gut punch until the end where you finally like years and years of this woman's life and the work that she's trying to put together finally comes to a head, and she finally gets what she wants. One, luckily she was still she didn't have the dementia when they got the death certificate, but towards the end when the whole family's together and you see those bits of it and you finally see, man, this is the life that she made for her family amongst this trauma. That just the entire movie, I felt like I was there, and that's why I really, really am happy about how much love this movie is getting.
Yeah, there's definitely sprinkles of those moments in the movie. You know, like the scene when she discovers what happened, like the fate. I guess are we allowed to say? When she finds out that he died, like around the middle of the movie, when she finds out, you know, that's definitely a gut punch. You know, when she goes like, "I'm sorry, I can't walk you out." You know, it's pretty big. And then like immediately after, you know, she's fixing her daughter's doll. There's moments like that, and obviously one of the best scenes of the year, honestly, is the dog scene. You know, which is the only scene where she blows up. Really, you know, it's definitely sprinkled in there, but that ending, even like watching the whole movie, it's kind of like the Honora effect almost, where like watching the whole movie, knowing where it leads up to, it really helps put a lot of pieces together.
No, it does, and I forgot about the dog dying. Jesus, yeah, this movie is heavy.
Very, very.
And I remember one of the things that stuck out the most for me was when the mother and daughter, Eunice and her daughter, are being interrogated, and you don't know how long they've been there. They're just being kept in these dark rooms. You saw someone being waterboarded, and she thought it was her. Like, I was like, God damn, what are they doing? Like, just things you didn't even really expect to experience or see, and it shows you how dire the circumstances really are. So I thought it was incredibly powerful to get those moments, and just when she's able to finally leave and then she sees her husband's car just sitting in that parking lot, and I was just like, fuck. Thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I just, again, it's you said it. It kind of shows what can happen when a country doesn't fight back. And seeing her fight back consistently to the eventual demise of the military dictatorship, and not just because of her, but like one person leads to another person leads to another person, and like the parts of the torture scenes or the internment scenes that really actually got to me was the continued them going back to the books. And every time you opened the book, she opened the book again, it was a new person she knew, including her daughter. Her daughter shows up at one point, right, in the book.
Her son at one point.
So essentially, that was a book of everyone they had already brought in.
They had already interrogated and said they would like we're saying these are people who are a part of trying to overthrow the government and why we took them and blah blah blah, and just trying to figure out who the new person is that they're bullshitting about. Just seeing how deep seated corruption in a government can go and can take over and just take their citizens and do whatever they want with them. That was the little thing that really got to me, that showed just the juxtaposition of that being able to happen, but also before she left and after she came back again. Like even there's a level of privilege that certain people get where they are going to just continue to live their lives, and it's the choice of whether or not you're going to do something about it, or you're going to just let things slide because your life is good. And how much of this do you relay to your children? How much do you shield them? How much do you make sure they know what's going on? Like, again, the balance of life, the balance of Eunice having to figure out what to do to make sure her family is still a family while not letting this crap slide is really what I think the like story-wise what the strength of this movie is for me.
No, and I would agree with that, because like even just seeing how, like you mentioned, we spend a lot of time with the family, especially early on. You can argue the children we spend the most time with are also the children we spend the most time with post time jump, which is the elder son and the middle daughter, or the second oldest daughter.
Yeah, they do confirm it's the I believe the youngest daughter, because she says it's the line when she asks, "Oh, when did you know he was gone?"
Oh yeah. That scene
said,
also was like, damn.
Yeah, she was saying, "Oh, when we were moving, and I looked out, and then like Mom gave me the tooth," and that was the scene just prior.
Yeah.
So I think it was confirmed, and then obviously he's the only son. So I think I do believe it was heavily implied that it was the youngest daughter.
Okay. See, for me, it just seemed I didn't even pick up on that so nice. It just seemed like it was the daughter who was abducted with her. So that's why that's just how my mind connected it.
Yeah, I think it was almost intentional that it wasn't clear until she said that.
Yeah, but either way, like you spend a lot of the time with the son early on because he's the one who brings the dog home, and you see him messing with his older siblings, and on the way to taking the dog home and things like that. And it's getting that, and then getting the time with him post time jump was interesting.
He's the one in the end who like notices she's having the moment with the documentary at the end. I noticed that like everyone else is talking, discussing like her Alzheimer's, when like he's the one just kind of looking at her in the house, and she's just like emotionally just moved. I thought that was an interesting touch, which makes sense. He's the one who wrote the book that the movie's based on.
Yeah, and I just I wish I could remember more, because like it is slowly coming back to me as we talk about it. But like,
I can see how this movie can be emotionally like more impactful in the moment. And the movie doesn't give you the most to chew on, if that makes sense. No. It's very much in the moment thing, but I don't think that lessens its impact per se.
No, not at all.
Like you remember the emotions.
Yes, I remember the emotions, and that's what I like. Like I said, I left it as being like, this is a good movie, that like very good, well made film. And that's literally before we started talking about it, all that I remembered. And then I'm like, then I'm starting to remember these instances, or like that was impactful, that was impactful, that was impactful. But like having that moment, going back to the end of it, having that moment where you get to see her remembering it when she's seeing her husband being talked about in the documentary on screen and everything. That was the oh God moment for me. That was just, I'm like, tears may have been shed, eyes definitely watered up.
I cried the first time I saw it,
but I was like, fuck. It's just such an emotional journey, such an interesting journey, and I couldn't have asked for a better, more interesting film to go with it, I guess is the way I can go about it. I wish it didn't take me having a conversation with people, and that honestly that may have been why, because I'm so used to being able to sit and talk with people about a movie after the fact, and that helps ingrain some of those moments in your head. That may be why the stuff's coming back to me as we speak, but that's not one you kind of want to. There are certain movies, and this falls in that category, where it's just a dark, emotional journey that you don't really want to sit down and talk about with people right after.
Yeah, I mean, at TIFF, like I was the only one in like my circle who saw it. Everyone else went to go see Amelia Perez, at least at that time. And then again, no one went to go see Queer after. So like, I also had a similar thing where it's just like, yeah, I didn't really get to discuss it, but I still was able to like swallow it. Because I raved about it after. We all had dinner after, and I was like just raving and like, guys, Fernando Torres.
I will say everything y'all are talking about is very similar to just Fernando Torres' performance. There is not, aside from the dog scene, there is not a moment that like sticks out in terms of like big emotional impact. It's just it's just steady. Like there's rises, there's falls, but it's just steady strength and solemnness and power that is like that. Again, it for me, the movie and Fernando Torres is so powerful in it because it's just a steady. You cannot keep your eyes off the movie. You cannot keep your eyes off of her because you can tell she is the center of that family. She's the center of that movie. Fernando Torres is the center of everything. And what's really interesting to me is she really, just like in the film, she has to take over when Rubens is taken, because at the beginning of the film, Selton Mello was the dude I was connected to. Him as Rubens Paiva, he was charming. He was just warm and familiar. I was like, if I could, he would get a Best Supporting Actor nomination for me because I thought he was fantastic as the patriarch of the family, how important he was.
He was so lovable, yeah.
He was so lovable, and he was the center of the movie to me until he was gone. And then Fernando Torres had to like step up just like the way her character had to step up.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. That's a really good point you bring up. Like the movie is so unsensationalized. Like, the only scene that sticks out to me as like big is the scene early on when the older daughter and her friends are pulled from the car by the military group looking for terrorists. Everything else, I think a lesser director would have shown like this military dictatorship as like gloomy. For the most part, at least in the beginning, it's people at the beach. And
it's weirdly a days in the life movie. It really is. You're just chilling with this family
until it really isn't anymore. But like, and even the raid scene, it's like again, us director would have been like let's hammer home the dread. Walter did do that, but in a different way. Like there was a point where one of them was playing with the kids, and it's just like it makes it more unsettling in a way.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And speaking of Selton Mello, I know this is slightly off topic, but how weird is it to go from a Best Picture, a film that's a Best Picture nom, to now being one of the stars in the Anaconda reboot?
I feel like that's how
he is in the Jack Black, Paul Rudd. He was announced in the cast, and I was like, "Yo, what?"
I feel like that's how Alessandro Nivola felt when Kraven the Hunter came out, and then The Brutalist a week after.
Yeah, probably. Look, well, it's Paul Rudd. I am not gonna ever not root for something with Paul Rudd in it, so whatever. But yeah, that's a
Friendship from Don May, by the way.
Oh man, that's a lot.
That movie's amazing. I can't wait for you to see it.
Did either of you have any other like performances that stuck out for you in the film?
The second oldest daughter, who we spent a lot of time with, that was the one that stuck out with me, and the middle daughter who wasn't abducted but seemingly had the closest relationship with the dad out of all the kids, where she was taking his clothes, things like that. Like those were the two that stuck out for me personally.
I do apologize. I don't really know the names.
Because, neither do I.
But and it's hard for me to decipher who's who. But like, really, like I'm not trying to be a cop out here, but like all the kids just really impressed me. Like you have Fernanda doing her like breathtaking eye acting, like just kind of like again outside the dog scene, just she never like lets her guard down into as a performer in a way. Her character maybe, but like as a performer, it's just pure like let's keep it in and let's make it more effective that way. But the kids just they feel so natural. They feel so natural. They're like near obliviousness, aside from one of them, or naive, childlike naivete is there. Aside from obviously the one who knew, is it's so effective.
No, it really is. Rue, what about for you?
Yeah, I mentioned it. Selton Mello from the beginning. He was the guy I was paying attention to the most. I didn't know much about the movie going in, but I figured that enough about it that I was like, okay, he's gonna be abducted in some way, and they got to figure that out. Or I was scared for him that was going to happen because they led up to like the people he was connecting with who were silently fighting the government, who used to be a part of the government, and him kind of trying to maneuver like, hey, I'm a former congressman. I'm just trying to live my life, trying to be a good father for my family. He was definitely he was definitely the standout for me until Fernando was the standout. Fernando Torres, at least, because there's two Fernandes.
Yeah.
It was them two. But Selton was really just like, man, I am gonna be sad when this guy goes, and they are making me really fall in love with him as a father, and as a husband, and how lovable he is. So it was definitely him until it had to be Fernando Torres.
No, totally fair. Totally fair. I think this one will be one of our shorter episodes because I don't really know how much because it is just such a day in the life film. I don't really know how much there is left we can really cover from it. Adriano, you having been the one who just saw it hours ago, what do you think?
We covered a lot of what I had to say. There definitely were moments where I was like, this doesn't really feel like a story anymore in a way. I don't necessarily mean that insultingly. It's just some stuff I noticed towards like a little bit before they moved out, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it's just cover what we had to leave. I think we covered what I need to cover, other than like, I hope more people see this and learn about this, this coup.
It is like, always hard. It's hard to get an American audience to embrace a foreign film.
Yeah, I will say, like there were definitely times where I felt how long this movie is. Usually, when you have such a heavy topic, when you have something that's over 2 hours, you can feel that. And I'll probably say it felt longer than 2 hours and 15 minutes in my eyes, but it was just 2 hours and 15 minutes. But that's still a pretty good long movie that I never lost interest in. But I was like, man, this is a lot to go over, and I still got like a whole hour left. So I feel you there for sure. But I just think it's I'm extremely happy that this got nominated for Best Picture. Extremely happy that she got nominated for Best Actress. Just because it's even though I like the other one, I do like the other one. This is one of the foreign films that should be getting the attention that it is getting at the moment. Fair
enough. But with that, folks, this was the newest episode of A Bigger Bite. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Amarú and Adriano for joining me for this one. You can check out all of their stuff on Bitesize Breakdown. And for me, you can find me here on A Bigger Bite, but also my own YouTube channel, Watt Real Entertainment, where I do movie reviews and podcasts and other discussions. So check me out there as well. But signing off, folks, I am Matt. That is Rue. That is Adriano. And we will see you next time.
Peace.